for prayers against violence, destruction in that part of the Northwest region, precisely in Bui division of the set Northwest region. We remain with municipal updates for this day. Moyoka Finzi urges youth to make use of Bia's empowerment drives. We move away from that story to the next publication for this day. Cameroon Tribune says the 91st anniversary of Paul Biya. Get to read more on how the 91 years of Paul Biya's birthday took place yesterday across the Yaoundé and some other parts of the country. National gender policy adjustments in gestations. Get to read that story on that said paper. AFCON 2023 balance sheet. You can find more on 33 to 38 pages of Cameroon Tribune for this day. Innovation for today talks of the Cameroon Bar Council. The ordinary General Assembly of the Cameroon Bar Council have been slated for the 2nd of March 2024, according to Barrister Glass Kwonu, who is the president of the General Assembly. High cost of living in Cameroon and the high rate of inflation now that stands at 7.4% in as compared to 2023, according to that paper of Innovation. Continuous power outages. The state gives a new a warning on that following the outing of the Minister of Water Resources and Energy, Gaston Elundu Esomba. Anglophone crisis. 25 attacks have been registered in schools since 2023, according to the United Nations Organization report that was made known yesterday. Away from that, we crossed over to Emergence Quotidienne for this day. The paper from Douala focuses on the Anglophone crisis, Northwest-Southwest regions. It says 25 attacks on schools since 2023. You can find more on that UN study that was made known yesterday across the nation. Continuous power outages. The paper talks of the state of bounty that reigns with a new and creation of small and medium-sized enterprises of the local economy. The paper says Cameroon wants to adopt a development plan for entrepreneurship. You can find more on that paper of Emergence Quotidienne for this day. And I said, we move away from that paper to Lloyd de Sahel from the far north region, from the northern region of the Cameroon. That is the paper of Gibe Baitama talks of the Grand North, the coup. This is the coup hammer of Biad to Kavaye Gibril. You can find that story on page 3. And we'll take you to Marwa. The paper report on the situation of the Green Bridge. What's that all about? Get more explanations on that said paper. On page 6, Goundary, the execution of the control of the budget of SCTD. You can get to read that story on page 5 on that publication for this day. La Voix du Consommateur for this morning reports on the paper reports on the powerless situation of the Ministry of Water Resources and Energy when it comes to making sure the electricity company in New is providing the adequate services that she was charged to Cameroonians. And Northwest Southwest regions Anglophone crisis. It says Cambe never again. And we crossed over bottom page story on this said paper. Automatic toll gates. The divorce between Tollcam, that's the company who constructed the automatic toll gates, and the Ministry of Public Works. You get to read what's tree. Tragic. The paper reports on the tragic end of Kelvin Kiptum. Well, you get to read that story on that set sad human interest story. We take you to civilian publication of L'Action for this day. It says Paul Biya is 91. The youth of Cameroon remembers his love and all what he has been doing for the nation, according to the civilian publication of L'Action. National Youth Day, it talks of why CPDM marches for peace, and we take you to to Cambe explosion. Ngala Gerard says attack is a wake-up call. We move away from that Cambe situation to to the next paper. The next paper for this morning should be Eco Quotidien. Eco Matin, not Eco Quotidien. Eco Matin talks of the Boisson du Cameroon company with the CEO Stéphane Dexadze, who comes out with a new strategy for 2024 by that company known as Boisson du Cameroon. We take you to the Semak sub-region. The paper talks of this burning documents that are highly awaited by the new governor of the Beak Central Bank. You can get to read that story on that said publication of Eco Matin for today. From Eco Matin, we take you to Le Messager of late Pius Njawe. The paper reports on Professor Joseph Owona, the last testament of Masayo. You can find more on that book of his before his demise. Cyril Chamba, Macky Sall is a deception. You can find more on the back and forth situation of the Senegalese president, who is postponing elections right up to the 14th of December 2024 for his prolonged stay in office. You can find more on that dissect on that publication for today. Camille Mote Biada, the paper report on the crusades against unemployment in the country Cameroon. We'll move over to Dakar Press. Dakar Press for today. The Senegalese newspaper is reporting on presidential elections. Khalifa Sall radicalizes. You can find more on that paper as the West African nation of Senegal is boiling following the failure of the incumbent president to stand down and call for immediate elections. You can get to read that story on that said paper. We move over now to Dakar Times. Dakar Times reports on presidential elections. The main opposition figure of Senegal, Sanko, is a candidate. You can find that story on Dakar Times for this day. From Dakar Times, we take you to the other Senegalese paper, that is Best Lujou. Best Lujou talks of the report of chaos after the mediation of Macky Sall and Sanko that have ended in a deadlock. And we move over to the mediation still with the socio-political impasse in Senegal, or political turmoil in Senegal, as former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo and the current chairman of ECOWAS, that is the sub-regional grouping of West African states, ECOWAS, that is headed by Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who says him alongside former President Obasanjo will be going to Dakar in no distant time to mediate in the socio-political impasse as the country is on the brink of a civil war if things are not being taken regarding the prolonged stay in power of Macky Sall. We'll move away from the Senegalese political situation to the next paper for today. The sports paper, Punch Sports Extra for this morning, have for us as King Ekong, the captain of the Super Eagles team, who played at the just ended African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. We talk on Osimhen to arrive Napoli today. You can find more on that said paper for today. Tinubu gives Super Eagles national honor as he offers land houses to them in Abuja, and how Valentine Day will be celebrated with some football stars. The paper gives you an intricacy on that on page 5. We take you now to the Punch. The Lagos-based publication says federal government NLC meeting deadlock, bankers threaten shuts down as the cost of living in Nigeria soars. We gave the paper says crash report ready, March Kingsmen declare 8 days of mourning, and Wale Soyinka deliver Punch at 50 anniversary lecture on the February the 29th of this year. Tinubu gives Super Eagles land, houses, national honor after AFCON outing in Cote d'Ivoire. We move over to The Nation. Another Lagos-based publication says Emefiele's $6.2 million US dollars trial. Buhari's signature forged, says ex-SGF. Access Bank holding awaits Central Bank of Nigeria's nod for Agbade as CEO of that bank, whose CEO died in a helicopter crash alongside with his family in California. Tinubu showcases showers Eagles with land and national honors, not forgetting houses in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. We take you to the health paper. My hospital says access to quality health services. The district hospital of Bonasama in Douala is a leader towards that fight. And we remain in the littoral region. The Lakantini Douala Hospital realizes some 3,000 births of premature babies who are living in beautiful conditions over there in the Douala Lakantini Hospital. And the Kusiri District Hospital, the health center of that have been upgraded. You can find more on that set paper for this day. Letemwen for this morning says Manona Malashi, Minister of Public Works, offers interreligion dwelling or living together, and the prices of petroleum products. The state highly in anticipation for the reconstruction of Sonara, that's the national refinery company based in Limbe. We move away from that story. We take you to another health paper, that is Quotidianico Sante for this morning. Talks of the affair of the child who was involved in an accident alongside the mother who died in the process at the Yaoundé gynecologist hospital. The paper says there was no negligence of the child according to that paper, but according to the video that was shot at that said hospital says otherwise. As we saw, the little baby who was abandoned there, as no doctors or medical personnel could be attending to the said child, according to videos that were shared on social media. So what a contradiction from that paper, who is contradicting her credibility on that said publication. We move away from the polemics of news reporting in Cameroon to Le Chapeau. Le Chapeau for today says Paul Biya, President of the Republic, celebrates 91 years as a gentleman, as the nation celebrates him grandiosely, according to that paper of Le Chapeau of Carol Tamba. And the Parole of Equatorial 2024, the paper report on the victory forces of Cameroon. You can find more on page 6. We crossed over to Le Flambeur. Le Flambeur for today talks of the subsection of the man division. It says the new start, and Paul Biya is the senior man at 91, according to that publication for this day. We crossed over now to the Bafoussam paper, L'Ouest Echo. L'Ouest Echo talks of the deployment of MRC militants in the Upper Kam division of the West region. The man Maurice Kamto announces the colors. You can find more on that paper from Bafoussam for this day. Continuous power outages. Government of Cameroon play a ping-pong game with a new Cameroon, that's the company in charge of provision of electricity supply. We crossed over to this other story. Professor Ngili Kante Pascal accompanies the youth of Cameroon for the creation of job in the country. Midi Action for this day talks of Minister Emmanuel Ngannou Njomisi, the head of the permanent delegation of the Central Committee from the Bambutus division galvanizes militants of the CPDM political party to inscribe on the electoral registrar over there in the Bambutus division of the West region, according to Midi Action newspaper for today. Bati 58th edition of the National Youth Day celebration, how it went, according to Midi Action. Get to read more on that said paper for today. We move away from that publication to Monde Professionnel for this day. Talks of syndicate leadership. The paper report on the biceptism of CSTC. We move over to Paul Biya, who clocks 91 years as a human being, or as president, and as someone who is the head of state of the country. How the celebrations of Paul Biya's 91 birthday celebration went. Get to read more on that publication. We remain with that Paul Biya at 91 with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post says Biya at 91 still kicking. Senator Ngafferson condemns Kambe attack, consoles families, victims. And editorial, Amber atrocities even in Kambe too. Apostle John Chi Foundation supports Muslim persons with disabilities, widows and widowers in the city of Yaoundé with this humanitarian gesture of his. Let's take you to a Code du Parlement says 2023 Parliamentary Notebook. Masenyat Ndifenji Kavaige Jibril, best MPs of the year, according to a Code du Parlement for this morning. Away from a Code du Parlement, we crossed over to one of the last papers, if I'm not mistaken, for this day. That is Economie Quotidienne for this day. Talks of the fight against unemployment in Cameroon, how to ameliorate competitiveness among enterprises in the country, and the fight against inflation. Let's take you to financement of certain projects of the African Development Bank in Cameroon, precisely in the agricultural sector. It says 16 years on after the African Development Bank kick-started the funding of agricultural products, according to the paper of Quotidienne Economy. The destination, the paper says 14 sites of 14 touristic sites in the country that are yet to be exploited. You can find or discover those set sites according to that paper. Viewers of High Television, with that paper of Quotidienne Economy.